Story 1. Remember the React developers who tried to trademark YouTube reaction videos? Story 2. How about Trevor Jacob? He literally fell out of his plane, jumped with a parachute when the engine failed. However, the Federal Aviation Administration investigated and found nothing wrong with the plane. They concluded that he crashed it for views, and he served 6 months in prison. Story 3. Probably Ruby Frank, the mother with 8 children who was caught severely abusing and torturing them. Another harmful individual. Story 4. That one girl who apologized for grooming children with a ukulele. Not my preference from the beginning, but she was really popular for a while. Story 5. Adam Kovic from Funhaus and Ryan Haywood from Achievement Hunter. Although I guess now it is all gone since Rooster Teeth shut down. Story 6. Going to go way back, but Epic Mealtime used to be all over the place. Their infighting made their content decline, and then they disappeared. It was not really a fall from grace, but a fall into irrelevancy. Story 7. I am on YouTube all the time and have heard of maybe 2 of these people. I feel like that is a win for me. Story 8. I don't know if it is a huge fall, but Illuminaughtii should be in this discussion. There was a huge unforced error in accusing Legal Eagle of plagiarism, the apology video that exposed someone's suicide letter, the baseless pedophile accusations, and combative legal challenges against her former collaborators. None of these have helped her case. Story 9. Illuminaughtii picked a fight with Legal Eagle, a lawyer, over some editing effects for a video. Her community turned against her, and the more she tried to do damage control, the more her former employees revealed that she was a manipulative sociopath. The channel she built over nearly a decade is now virtually dead. She continues to have legal disputes with her former employees and ex-boyfriend while preparing to become a landlord. I used to enjoy her long videos on various cults and scams, which she released weekly, but it is hard to take her seriously now. The above is only scratching the surface. Other parts of the scandal included helping her employees buy or rent homes and cars, then using that as leverage if they upset her. She was also part of a leftist political podcast called The Leftist Mafia, where she was removed for being mean-spirited. Meanwhile, her channel is currently inactive, with subscribers gradually leaving following an initial wave of unsubscribing. She is busy depleting her fortune fighting everyone who has worked for her in court. Story 10. Skyda's Minecraft is an easy one for me. Most other YouTubers would have been shot dead if they did half the things Sky did. Story 11. I do not know about the biggest, but Alex Day had a massive fall from grace. Story 12. Eugenia Cooney. I feel bad about saying this, but I think that by now she is exploiting her eating disorder for views. I am surprised that she is still alive. Not that I want her to be dead. But I am genuinely surprised. She and her mother have caused significant harm to young people who have gone down the deep waters of eating disorders. Story 13. Friendly vanished direful 6 bewildered pot relieved unwritten consist lock. Story 14. Jurd, also known as the completionist. An original content creator who damaged his good reputation by engaging in a charity scam and revealing his true character. He went from being a lovable, kind-hearted person to a manipulative individual who took advantage of his friends, other creators, and his fans. It is unlikely that any of his former peers or collaborators will speak to him anymore. Story 15. Jinkid was known for making videos demonstrating Skyrim physics in real life. He was convicted of killing his wife and went to prison. Story 16. Shay Carl was known as the family vlogger and made it seem like he had the perfect family. However, he cheated on his wife with a cam girl, and things took a turn for the worse. Story 17. Mini Lad, I used to love his videos until I found out he was a pedophile. The guy went from YouTube gaming royalty to hated overnight. Story 18. Ryan Haywood from Rooster Teeth was known as the dad and family guy of the group until it was revealed he is a serial cheater and possible groomer. Also, the people that Bomber Guy called out in his plagiarism video, namely a person named James, last I heard, he is not doing well. Story 19. She was a gossip channel host who frequently called people out. She started the channel because her husband's ex had a YouTube channel, and she wanted to outdo her. She also harassed and stalked that ex for years, sharing her own stalker stories as if they were hers. Additionally, She anonymously spoke negatively about her other YouTuber friends on forums. Story 20. Daddy05 was a popular family YouTube channel that pulled pranks on their kids, mostly targeting one child in particular, Cody. They lost custody of Cody and his sister to their biological mother due to the harmful treatment they endured. One prank involved telling Cody he was being put up for adoption because they did not want him around anymore. They continued this for an extended period, causing Cody to break down. Many of their videos ended with Cody having a breakdown due to the abuse he suffered as part of these pranks from his family. Story 21. Gabby Hanna was always controversial, but the criticisms by Jessica Smiles, Joey Graceffa, and Daniel Preda revealed her as a problematic person. She could have admitted to being accepting of Jessica's abuser and apologized, which might have saved her career, but the cover-ups and lies continued. Her treatment of Jessica was especially disturbing, and it is unlikely she will recover from the situation. Story 22. I would have said James Somerton, but not because Juario went from being a big star of Channel Awesome to credible accusations of sexual assault of one woman and grooming of another minor, and finally taking his own life in 2014. Story 23. Completionist. He went from good guy to fraud very quickly. Story 24. The Bon Appetit test kitchen's closure probably wasn't the biggest, but it was noticeable. They were reposted constantly online before that, and I have not seen anything reposted from the reboot anywhere. Story 25. White Boy 7th Street comes to mind, although he may not have been as widely known as some of the others. Story 26. This is not a major fall from grace, but it is disturbing that I used to watch his content. There is a YouTuber named Featureman who is still making videos. He is an elderly man who used to act as an extra in Hollywood. If you watch the scene in Pee-wee's Big Adventure when Pee-wee says, "Large Marge sent me," Featureman is the second man wearing a hat who turns and reacts. Recently, he made a video discussing how, back in the 1970s, he was convicted and sentenced to 3 life terms in prison. That was shocking, so some people investigated further and found that he had worked at a halfway house for young boys as a music teacher. He was reportedly forcing himself on some of the underage boys there. He was convicted for crimes against nature in that state and sentenced to 3 life terms. However, due to the treatment of gay people at that time and the nature of the conviction, his lawyer was able to have the conviction overturned, and he was never punished for his actions. Story 27. I have not seen him mentioned yet. Spoonie. He was with Nostalgia Critic at the beginning. He had moderate success, then faded out. Story 28. The Completionist seems to have dropped significantly on the charts after his charity was found to have issues. Story 29. The Stoffers returned the adopted boy because they could not handle him and spoke about it as if it were nothing. Story 30. FPS Russia, also known as Kyle Mears, was a very popular gun YouTuber in the 2010s with access to some unique weapons. His close friend was murdered execution style, which ended his access to most of the notable firearms. His channel was later demonetized, and he was arrested in 2016 in a sting operation involving mail-order marijuana. He lost approximately $400,000 worth of guns, served jail time, and now cannot legally possess firearms due to the felony conviction. Story 31. Athene went from a mildly amusing, best paladin in the World of Warcraft meme to the leader of an actual cult. Story 32. Wasn't there a woman who adopted a child and then returned him? Story 33. Everyday play 445 and I do not really think it is even close. Story 34. Guy went from harmless posts to being disliked for bullying people of all kinds. Story 35. Adam Blampied fell from grace twice. He dominated the YouTube professional wrestling scene for a few years, started his own wrestling company, but was later revealed to be an abusive sexual deviant. After a redemption story with a new channel, he experienced a second downfall for similar sexual misconduct. Story 36. Vote Saxon 07. Not massive, but huge in his niche. He reviewed every bit of Doctor Who merchandise and news, that kind of thing. Then he murdered his pregnant girlfriend and tried to cover himself by releasing a pre-recorded live stream that played as he committed the act. In the live stream, he even makes a few remarks that are almost taunts about what he was doing in real life at that moment. Story 37. Who is the person that sang her apology for sexually approaching underage boys with a ukulele? Story 38. Popular MMOs was an important part of my childhood. It is sad to see that he is no longer uploading videos. Additionally, his divorce from Jen and Eleni allegedly using him for fame are unfortunate. Story 39. Boogie 2988 was once considered wholesome. When the mask came off, we saw that he is a depraved, abusive, and pathetic person. He leaned in even harder to get hateful views. Truly a foul human being from what I can see. He actually lives about 2 miles from me. Story 40. Ryan Terry, also known as Cryaotic Monkey or simply Cry, once had a massive following. He was well known for his voice, which he intentionally used to his advantage, including grooming minors in his fan base. When news about him was about to come out, he made an apology video admitting to everything but tried to portray it as making an innocent mistake. He said things like, "I was flirting with people that I never realized were underage in the first place," and even tried to lighten the mood by jokingly calling himself a basement dweller. Except that in the part of America where I live, there are no basements. The apology felt very much like a woe is me approach, mixed with seemingly self-aware emotional honesty. However, it was clear he was trying to minimize the damage, which unfortunately worked on many of his fans. There has been no update since that video 4 years ago, but information from others involved has continued to emerge, showing just how much he was minimizing the situation. It is very disturbing. The situation feels somewhat similar to the controversies surrounding Onision. Though Ryan's abuse was mostly off-screen, he never appeared during the incidents, and his outbursts were more awkward than insane but still wild. Unlike Onision, Ryan never tried to sue anyone. He hid much of it well until everything eventually came crashing down. Story 41. EDP 445 had a very popular channel focused on ranting about the Philadelphia Eagles. Many people found him hilarious, and there are still numerous memes about him today. He also made a significant amount of money from his channel. A few years ago, he was caught by a predator poacher channel attempting to meet with a 13-year-old girl. No minor was actually involved, but he fully intended to meet a minor with inappropriate intentions. The messages he sent to the decoy were disturbing. He admitted to everything on camera and became emotional. Although he did not face legal repercussions, his career ended. YouTube deleted his channel along with any other channels he created afterward. He was also banned from several other sites when attempting to make a comeback. Despite his admission, he later claimed he was set up and even suggested the Predator Poacher video was staged for a movie. Adding to the situation, Skeeter Gene, one of the most prominent Predator Poacher channels on YouTube, caught and confronted him in Las Vegas. This time, EDP 445 refused to answer questions or explain himself and left the scene quickly. Being caught at least twice is notable. Story 42. Mr. Beast is getting very close. From dominating the platform to being the top YouTube drama over the past couple of months. Story 43. Healthy junk food I hadn't seen for a few years. Then randomly came across a YouTube short of the guy ranting about it all falling apart and false accusations against him. Plug for Ordinary Sausage. The creator has been consistent since he started during the lockdown 4 years ago, just making random sausages in a goofy Chicago voice. He is not trying to expand his brand or promote his line of copper pans or knives. Story 44. This week, Cujo beats Illuminaughtii, Lauren the Mortician and her lawyer. Story 45. Ruby Frank. I cannot understand why she had followers. Her parenting advice was abusive. Story 46. Micah Stauffer and her husband adopted a child with disabilities as a stunt, only to realize that it was too much work and ultimately returned the child. Story 47. The report of the week. I still can't believe he murdered all those workers because his tenders were cold. Story 48. A week ago, I would have said Nikocado Avocado. He is legitimately talented on the violin, got popular doing mukbangs, gained over 200 pounds, and was having viral meltdowns left and right. He became a laughingstock. It turns out he had been trolling everyone for the past 2 years with pre-recorded videos while he was busy losing weight and apparently getting himself into a good place mentally. I have a lot of respect for him now. Keep an eye on Logan Paul for the biggest fall from grace though. It is coming. Story 49 FPS Russia, remember that Call of Duty commercial? Then the federal agents spied on him and baited him. Story 50. Russell Brand moved to YouTube when he stopped getting booked on traditional television and cast in movies. He then moved to Rumble because the only people willing to believe him now are similar to flat earthers and Holocaust deniers. Story 51. The Fine brothers tried to trademark reaction videos. There were literal live streams watching their subscriber count go down, and those live streams had millions of viewers. The chat was flooded with vehement hate against them. It is not clear if they ever fully recovered from that. Story 52. Nick Rikita. Rikita Law on YouTube was influential and helped LawTube become popular. I stopped watching him years ago, but he suddenly appeared on my feed again when his YouTube friends made videos urging him to get help. Then he was arrested. Top comment sheds some light. Story 53. Today I learned that I have absolutely no idea who any of these people are, which is great. However, can we at least get a summary of why some random influencer that you all seem to be so interested in fell from grace? Just saying the name Bobby McNobby does nothing for anyone, especially those out of the loop. Story 54. Jenna Marbles, because she actually had grace to fall from. Most of the answers here are just the audience catching on the fake personas YouTubers make up. But Jenna was genuinely a good person, and her way of taking accountability was erasing her internet persona. Imisha. She deserved better treatment, especially because 90% of the answers here still get brand deals and exposure. Story 55. The Timepiece Gentleman. YouTube and Instagram-based wristwatch scammer, known as Team Redditors, brought him to justice. He is now in jail awaiting a federal trial. He scammed watch buyers out of approximately $5 million. About as shady as they come. Before scamming with wristwatches, he also defrauded unsuspecting clients while working as a masseur. Story 56. This is specific to the wrestling community, but Adam Blampied was the prominent face and voice of wrestling YouTube. However, he could not stop inappropriate behavior even after being given a second chance following previous cancellation for similar conduct. Story 57. College humor went from the biggest thing on YouTube to a pretty niche channel in a hurry. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.